All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the episode of the Franchise Empire Show. The Franchise Empire newsletter. This is not the Franchise Empire Show, ladies and gentlemen. But you should definitely be subscribed there if you aren't already. Anyways, welcome to the Franchise Empire newsletter. Today is Monday, February 5th. Let's rock and roll. I'm excited because we're back to streaming this on LinkedIn. We had some tech issues, but we're here. So we're streaming on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. So if you're just tuning in, drop us a comment. Let us know if you're watching the replay. If you're watching live, that would be awesome. So today we are going to talk about one specific franchise resale. We're going to talk about one franchise of the week. We're going to talk about a client case study and our latest episode of the Franchise Empire Show. Yeah, and we're going to talk about a business that has a pretty high gross profit, or at least one of their units. They show that. So let me share my screen. We'll run through this welcome message, and then we'll bring Kevin in so we can dive in to the specific franchise opportunities. As we dive into this, if you want to be subscribed to the newsletter, you go to franchiseempire.com/newsletter to make sure that this hits your inbox every Sunday morning. So we'll jump into the specific franchises in just a minute. But as usual, we have our weekly message to share with you, which is I want to just talk about one of the most important skills in business that I've learned, and I learned the hard way, and I actually learned it from I really started to notice it from my wife because my wife and I first got together and got married. She had already been a successful entrepreneur for a long time. And I started to notice over the first couple of years of us being together why I kept failing in business. And it all came down to this. Not all came down to this, but a lot of it was speed of execution. So this is the message for today, which is when you have an idea and you think I should do that, I want to do that, I need to do that, or that's a really good idea, is doing it right away. The longer the lag between I should do that, I want to do it, I know this is something that I want to do, to actually executing and implementing, the less successful you're going to be, in my experience, right? And the analogy here that I'll leave you with before we dive into the resale and the specific franchise opportunity and bring Kevin on is that here's the scenario, right? You and I are in the exact same business industry, right? We're both busy. We both have the same financial resources, meaning that we experience the same fear, doubt, uncertainty, have access to the same resources. But the only difference is I execute on that idea today and you put it on your to-do list and you execute it a week from now. Let's say that idea is a marketing strategy, as an example. You're like, oh, we should do this marketing strategy in our business. I think that'll help us to generate more sales. And you wait a week, but I do it today. Who do you think will be more successful? Exactly. In all likelihood, I will, right? And it's not because that I'm special or smarter than you. It's just because I executed first. So whatever it is that you think you should do or need to do it today. Get the ball rolling. Here's a quick example of that before we bring Kevin in. This newsletter, starting up this newsletter was like an idea that I got based on seeing some different things out there in the marketplace. And then boom, starting up the newsletter, getting it implemented, and then the video newsletter implementation. It was like, talk to the team. Hey, I think we should do a video newsletter. And then it was like, boom, we got it implemented right away. So with that said, let's bring on the man. What's up, Kevin? Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I remember when you slacked me and you're like, "Hey, do you want to do a video newsletter next week?" And it was like Thursday or Friday, and when you wanted to do it on Monday, I was like, "Sure, why not? Let's do it." So yeah, I think I've seen you get better with speed of execution since we started working together. I think we've been moving quickly on new ideas, which is always good. But that's also why I kind of like the franchise path is because like you don't when I started businesses on my own, it was hard because you couldn't just execute. I felt like it was a lot of strategizing and figuring out what the hell your strategy was going to be and target market and how to get there and testing things rather than just like having the blueprint that you need to execute that you know works. So that part was really hard for me. Even though I like strategizing, I love that part of business. It was hard because you felt like you weren't doing enough execution, or at least I did. But anyways,
It's a good point. It is super hard, and that was one of the things actually in our franchise system. Like, I loved being able to collaborate with the marketing team. Like, I'd have an idea, and then they'd help me be able to execute and implement on it, which was cool. Just having the resources and the help and the support. Whereas if it was just me, and like, if it was just me, like so much energy goes into these newsletters, right? I
mhm.
mean, you and Krista are the ones finding the franchises, doing the type ups on the specific opportunities. Like, I had the idea, but like I would not be able to execute on this by myself, you know?
Yeah.
Sweet. What do we got? Let's dive into this resale, the first one that we got for today.
Yeah,
Familiar name?
I think the first actual newsletter we did at Budget Blinds Resale. And so, you know, I'm a huge like I'm not going to just like recommend we present a resale unless I feel like it's a good opportunity within a really strong brand. So this is a repeat one, but Budget Blinds is such a good franchise system. I thought it'd be worth sharing. So again, Budget Blinds, they've been around since 96. They have, close to 1,200 different franchise units throughout the country. So they're huge. They're industry leader in home services. This particular resale is in Elmhurst, Illinois, which is basically like a Chicago suburb. It was started in 2012. The owner, so it's been in business for a while. The owner is getting ready to retire. It sounds like they've been running it owner operator, which means they've mostly kind of been the one doing the sales, and then they manage the subcontractors that do the installation, and never really like had the desire to add employees and scale the thing, which is fine. I bet you it's a nice business for this owner, and he's making good money for himself, but hasn't really got it to the point of other Budget Blinds, franchise locations. So in my opinion, that's kind of exciting because it is in a good market. Chicago is a great market. It's surrounded by other owners. So, from what I understand, there's a pretty good marketing co-op in place where a lot of the owners have come together to join in and invest money on local marketing, which is great. And this asking price is 490,000. They are finishing a third party valuation to kind of finalize it, but it's in that range. So that leads me to believe it is profitable and the owner's making good money in kind of that owner operator role. So has several subcontractors in place, which is nice because you don't have to have W-2 employees unless you wanted to make that transition if you took the business over. So we've looked at Budget Blinds before. I know you've looked at Budget Blinds resale opportunity for yourself. When you look at like the average unit volume for their performance, this is from the 2022 FTD. Their average sales for one territory was around 900,000, which is pretty great.
A lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, especially for one territory. Because sometimes you see franchises have that kind of AUV, but they might have like two or three territories for that type of gross sales. So again, really like Budget Blinds. I think this could be a cool opportunity for somebody to step in and either continue down that owner operator path or slowly build into hiring sales reps and scaling the business. So yeah, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed just Budget Blinds overall for a while now. So, number one, I would say for anyone interested in the resale, definitely hit us up, and especially if you're open to a Budget Blinds, because they have one of the, I'd say probably the most robust resale inventories out of most brands, just because they're so huge. They have so many, franchisees. They've been around a long time. But I've seen behind the scenes on quite a few Budget Blinds resales in terms of looking at the profit and loss statements and really being able to really dig in deep to the financials and due diligence. So I think it's a great business overall. As Kevin said, we had personally looked into one. where we got out. Talk about speed of execution. The neighboring territory, the neighboring franchisees beat us to an offer. They beat us to making an offer, and I'll tell you what, Bridget was really excited about the overall opportunity. It was a really solid business. One of my good buddies, Adam, he owns about 7 territories with budget blinds. I've done a couple podcast episodes with not just him, but him and his business partner. They've built a huge business. They just absolutely crush it, and they've been able to build something where budget blinds is unique, Kevin, because you have a lot of these kind of husband and wife duos, right? Or where it's maybe just one or the other that are kind of running the business, and you can just kind of make it where I don't want to say you bought yourself a job, but kind of that scenario where you're able to run just a very simple business where you control your hours. You could probably manage the profitability really, really well at that point because you don't have a lot of overhead. You can do the sales, right? Like in this business, manage the subcontractors, do the installs, and you got yourself a great business, right? But the cool thing is you can also really build an empire. So Adam, like they have a GM. I think they have under the owners, they have a GM, then an operations manager, sales manager, and they have various levels of management, full-time W-2 installers, multiple full-time salespeople. So they've really built like an operation. So I think that's what's really cool about this business is you kind of pick your path of how you want to go out and do it. And initially there was a lot of the mom and pop owners or like husband and wife duos. So there's definitely in my eyes a lot of upside potential just kind of in that brand overall and some of the resales.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Cool. For those of you who want to learn more about either this specific resale or any resale, Kevin, you want to talk about that real quick, kind of what they can do next?
Yeah, so you can click on this resales button and enter in your information. Ideally, like your zip code and location you're located in or would want to be located in to own a business, and then we could look into specifically budget blinds resale opportunities, or if you're interested in different sectors, we can look into a number of different opportunities. Happy to even hop on a call and see, talk through different types of ideas and see what might be out there for you. So, the broader range of categories you're interested in or willing to look at, the more, I'd say, the better odds that we could find something for you in terms of a resale.
Awesome. Yes, you guys go to franchiseempire.com/resales and you'll be able to set up a free quick call with Kevin or Carista. All right, real quick, before we hop to the franchise of the week in terms of a new franchise, we'll hit a quick client case study. We did put Josh up here a few weeks ago, but I thought he was fitting for the message that we had in terms of speed of execution. So Josh came to us as a wildland firefighter. He had found out that his young son had diabetes and that he wanted to be closer. He needed to be closer to home and couldn't be out there fighting fires for days at a time in case his son got sick. And so one of the things I loved about Josh, and Kevin will be able to speak to this because you wind up working with him closer one-on-one, but man, his speed of execution was on point. It was like idea, boom, implementation. And he would just follow the system, follow the plan. And he just so coachable and would just move super quickly. And one of the things that I thought was awesome about Josh was that he started lining up his pipeline for clients before he even signed his franchise agreement. Like once he knew what he was going with, he already started building up the hype. And that's like the difference between people that are successful, the ones that, again, you can just, speed of execution. But Kevin, you worked really closely with Josh. So what was did you have the same experience? Because we haven't talked about this before. By the way, guys, Kevin and I, we just, each of us do our parts for the newsletter. We don't talk about it. There's no planning. Like this is all ad hoc, by the way.
We both have a wing it personality, so it works well for us. But yeah, Josh was awesome. He was just a determined guy. Like he wanted to make a change in his life, and he didn't make any excuses. He was very busy, like going through the validation process in his personal life, that he made time to get it done. Like literally no excuses. So, I love that. And yeah, I remember him asking, like, he's like, I have some contacts. Maybe I should reach out to them to see about, like, if there's opportunity to partner, or should I wait till, I sign the franchise? I was like, yeah, just do it. Go. I mean, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like, they tell you no. I mean, who cares? That's great to get a head start on that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I think when it came down to it, he was just determined to make a change in his life, and he was willing to follow the system that we provided to him, and then he's willing to follow the system that the franchisor is providing to him, and he's already really successful. I follow him on LinkedIn. He's constantly posting like videos of inspections he's doing. It seems like he's really enjoying the work.
He's a
We
content beast. He's
Yeah,
making TikTok videos and stuff.
yeah, I know. It's awesome, and it's actually really informative stuff. I mean, how they go about the process of inspecting the homes and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm very happy for him. He wanted something that was lower investment, could make money quick. It made sense for him in a lot of ways, but it's all on him. He's the one that's executing and moving quickly and following the system. So, like, I'm a firm believer. I was just talking to a new client of ours today that we're working with, and he was saying, well, a lot of these industries you're mentioning have a lot of competition in our areas. Like, well, every single industry is going to have competition. I'm not going to be able to find a franchise probably that doesn't have a lot of competition. You're just going to be better than them, right? Like, you're going to execute faster, you're going to be better. And he's like, yeah, you're right. I was like, it's like anything else in life. I mean, you're going to have a lot of coworkers in corporate America like you do now, but there's a reason you're a VP and they're working for you. It's going to be the same in your market. So,
It's a
yeah,
great analogy.
I mean, it's true. It's like, are you going to continue to be a top performer in whatever you do? I believe you will be. And if you just get into the right system, franchise system that has good demand, you can beat out the competition. You'll put them out of business. So,
Heck yeah.
so
You remind me of have you ever heard of the dude Andy Elliott, sales guy? Oh
no.
man, check him out on Instagram. He posts like so he has some very intense opinions, but yeah, he talks about like wanting to put his competition out of business. It's pretty funny. Our franchise of the week. Let's see. Let's hit this question first, real quick. Purple Blue says, "I don't want to buy a franchise. I want to start a franchise. Can you give advice on it, please?" That's probably not for this newsletter. But I do have a video on it. I'll go back and see if I can post a shoot us an email at info@tarekjohnson.com. Info@tarekjohnson.com. And we've done a couple of videos. I've interviewed some folks too that specialize in that space. Depends on if you already have a business that is proven and that can be scaled and duplicated. Like, is it successful financially? Or if you're literally just you don't have anything and you're like, hey, I want to start with the end in mind. There are people that do that too. Franchise of the week. All right, so tell us about Koala.
Yeah, so this one's called Koala Insulation. So it's a residential and commercial insulation, insulation business. So they do like spray foam insulation, attic bat insulation, all different types of insulation. And then they do like new construction homes, but also will retrofit like older homes that are not energy efficient, and they'll come in and insulate the home to make it more, your utility costs go down. So this one is not like a sexy business by any means. It's pretty hard work and it can be hot up in those attics. However, it is, a growing, like it's in demand. There's a lot of insulation companies out there. You're going to have a lot of competition in your area. But like I was saying before, if you can just be better and execute better and provide good customer service, especially to like home builders that are going to like subcontract the insulation work to you, you can build a nice business for yourself in this. So Koala's been around. They actually started franchising in 2018, and they have 325 franchise units now, grown extremely quickly. They actually sold their 2 corporate-owned franchises to franchisees, and so they don't actually own any corporate-owned franchises now. But They actually have a really cool support system called Koala University. It's like a pretty extensive training program they put you through. They're very heavily involved in like the marketing and sales side of the business for their franchise owners. Um, they're going to do a lot of like marketing for you in your local area when you get launched. This one, they claim you could do it semi passively as well. So you would have like an operations manager in place, and then a couple technicians that would be the actual people in the field doing the installation work. So I like Koala Insulation. I don't think it's as scalable as other home services franchises like a Budget Blinds, but it is a nice business for sure, and I think the margins are pretty strong. The only challenge with Koala is they are pretty well established, so it is a little bit difficult to find territories that are open. But we're actually helping someone right now in the Houston area buy a couple territories because there was an opening there. So think of like climates where there's drastic weather changes. Installation businesses do well. So if it gets like really hot and or really cold, like where I live, it gets -10 all the way up to 100 degrees. These type of businesses are busy because it's a problem. The problem or pain you're solving for the customer is comfort, and the energy bills. So I don't think these type of businesses are going anywhere anytime soon, especially when home builders are putting up homes and they use like cardboard for materials. It seems like these days. So yeah, I like Koala Insulation. I like all the support that they provide and the training. I've heard really good things about this franchise.
Nice. You want to talk about some numbers?
Yeah, so this is showing they do have a really extensive item 19, and they break down like EBITDA numbers, which is really nice. So all qualifying locations, I don't know how they're disclosing that, like how many total locations that would be, but we'd have to look in the item 19. But average sales is just over a million, with an average gross profit percentage of 49.2%, which is pretty good. I think for home services, you want to be between 45 and 55% gross profit. So that lines up. And then they break down even their, below the line expenses. So fixed expenses like payroll, advertising and marketing, workers' comp. So then total revenue less disclosed is around 32%. So I don't think that's quite net profit, but I'd have to read the finer print to know for sure. Average ticket price is just around $3,000, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, and this is where, when we work with clients, we teach you and coach you on how to validate this stuff, right? Because like this says total revenue less disclosed expenses. My question would be like, what does that mean? Like less disclosed expense? Are those just personal expenses? Because what's tricky in business overall is that a lot of owners, what you show on your profit and loss statement is not necessarily representative of what you're actually making sometimes, because you have maybe personal expenses that become eligible to be written off in the business, like health insurance, like things with your car, your vehicle, or whatever it is that you start to add in there, and like those could be things that are not disclosed in here. But I think the idea overall is that out of a high volume of locations, that if the profit potential is there overall, that gives you the sign that, okay, cool, this is something I want to look into more. And then it's your job when you validate to start digging through that and then see if it makes sense for you and kind of in your area.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, in what I see there is like there's probably 5 to 10% of additional expenses that are not disclosed. That would be my guess. Probably 10% on the high end. So even then, if you factor in and you look at what that would look like from a net standpoint, it's still a strong business. But that would be something you would want to validate with the franchise owners. And you're right, we coach you through that process.
Boom. I think you already talked through this stuff, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like, quick ramp up for these type of businesses in general, home services. You go to training, you come back, turn on the marketing engine, you start quoting jobs. So I like these home services for that reason.
Boom. Yeah, home services just really exploding. So if you guys want to either one, check on the availability of this specific franchise, or you just want to see, hey, what franchises are available in my area, then you can go to franchiseempire.com/check territory. You'll be able to input your info. You'll be able to schedule a free quick call with either Kevin or Carista, and they'll be able to check and see what's available in your area. And again, you get to just shortcut the whole process of scouring and wasting time online trying to look through top franchise lists that all like have like McDonald's and Taco Bell and KFC, which we know are not realistic to get open, and also like very expensive. In the lastly, our most recent episode of the Franchise Empire Show. This is for any of you who have heard of EOS and Traction. It's an incredible what's called operating system for entrepreneurs. 190,000 entrepreneurs use this specific operating system. So I sat down with Brian, who is a franchisee of EOS, and he goes into businesses for entrepreneurs and helps to implement the system. We sat down and talked about it. EOS, by the way, is incredible. We use it in the business now. So Kevin and Chris are both on the leadership team. We have our leadership team meetings, follows a very specific structure. We have very specific scorecards. We do it for different departments. It's like, I guess, Kevin, what's been your experience? I mean, I know you had experience with EOS prior, and then now with us using it in the business now, what's your take on it?
Yeah, I think it just helps provide focus to the entire team and organization. You're all aligned to goals that start at the top and then cascade down to individual teams, and you establish metrics you all agree upon, and every week you check those metrics, and if something's off, then you talk about it and fix it. So otherwise you can get into the day-to-day and just like get overwhelmed and not make time to make sure you're on track with your goals. So EOS is, like you always say, it's a game changer for sure. If you get to a certain point in your organization where you do have enough team members, like it probably doesn't make sense. It's just like one or two people on your team. But once you start to get to that point where you're starting to scale quite a bit, then it can really help.
Yeah, it's a huge game changer. So for let's see, I'm gonna reshare here just so you guys can get a quick visual window. Here we go. Share. So if you're not subscribed to the Franchise Empire Show, make sure to subscribe to that YouTube channel, and you'll be able to go see this episode here with Brian. Make sure to go again, subscribe to the Franchise Empire Show YouTube channel. If you just type it into YouTube, you'll be able to see it, and you'll be able to see some of the other amazing episodes and guests that we've had on. I no longer post the deep technical content on the Tarek Johnson YouTube channel. That's like more infotainment now, that we post on there. So if you're looking for like really specific franchise content, we're talking about super successful franchisees. This guy has owned over 33 KFC and Taco Bells. Peter, which is crazy. Scott is like the AI expert on how to implement AI in your business and use it. I do some solo podcast episodes here. So definitely go and subscribe there if you have not already. Anything else, Kevin?
Nothing. Have a good week.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Take care. Have a great week. We'll see you next week. Peace.